at the free throw line. How important were those two factors in today's game?
Well, they carried us tonight. Obviously, you don't ever come into the game after finals expecting 100% execution and 100% focus and just energy used out. You really don't. If you expect that, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I'd like to invite anybody in the room to come in and take a week of tests and do a week of projects and pick up your syllabuses and study and then try to come out and do your job with a lot of focus. It's really, really hard. So I thought our staff was really patient with our kids. We coached them through it when they needed us. And then they didn't need us anymore. I didn't say hardly a word at halftime. They talked to themselves, fixed a lot of problems, and I thought our second half was more like the team that we've been seeing. But I'm certainly not hitting panic mode. I know what they went through last week, and I know how poorly I performed when I was asked to do that. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a break. I thought they played really well from the middle of the second quarter on.
Pretty well account for that first half, both teams with the shooting the way it was or lack thereof.
Yeah, lack thereof. There weren't a lot of turnovers, and I thought as far as quality of shots that we got, I was okay with, and that's why there wasn't much panic. If we'd have been turning it over or taking shots that were out of characteristic, I'd have been a little bit more concerned. But I thought they were the aggressor. I was concerned with that. I was concerned that they came in off of a road trip to Colorado, where supposedly the altitude's supposed to zap you, and we were sleeping in our own beds. So we challenged them a little bit with that. I hate to use the word energy. I think it's one of those overused things that coaches say a lot, but probably tonight that was the difference. A little bit more, just a little more try in them from the second quarter on.
That's what I was going to point out, the rebounding. I mean, that's a lot of – we talk about blocking out stuff, but that's a lot of effort, right?
No, we don't teach a whole lot of blocking out. It's go get it these days. Athletes are so good, you can't hardly put your back on them and expect to it. But, 4 or 5 of those possessions, we had 3 kids spectating. And they saw it. They knew it. I didn't have to tell them. They'll see it in film again, though, I promise you. Coach Todd will do a great job pointing that out. And once we clean that up, I think at one point in time we were down almost 8 or 10 rebounds.
Yeah, like 19 to 11.
Yeah. And they had 11 offensive. And I think, they ended up with 12 at the end of the quarter. And, when you're missing a lot of shots, both teams, which they were, there's going to be huge rebounding numbers. And I thought we got our share of those after a certain period.
Zimmerman on the boards, or she a key as far as?
She knows her role as well as any kid I've coached in 19 years. She knows what she's going in there to do. She has an approach and an attitude and a team first thought as good as any kid I've ever coached. She knows what she's going to bring to a lineup, and for her to come in and do it again, night after night after night after night, it's helps you sleep. And for her to graduate in 3.5 years, her and Mal both, that was a good thing for them to have her to have a good day today. Yep. Yeah.
Just generally, a couple things about Nebraska.
Sure. Yeah, since we're not going to go, an NCAA tournament team last year returned a large portion of their offense, a style of play that you don't ideally look at and go, oh, yay, they have a 6'5" kid that is a finesse kid. If you look at her stats, she's only shot 2 free throws all year long. And for a kid that size, playing the number of minutes she has, it tells you what she is. She tries to shoot it over the top of you. And we don't have an answer for that right now. So it's a team that's got experience. It's a team that, their record is a little bit unreflective of how good they've played. They've played some of the top teams in the country. It will take a huge effort from all of our kids. We'll be a massive underdog, I'm sure, in the game. But it was partly, why we subbed as early as we did tonight. We subbed early. We played nobody played more than 27 minutes. And that was a product of knowing we have 3 games in 5 days.
How do you get your shooters going again?
I don't know. That's been one of those mysteries for me a long time. Sometimes it's not more shooting. Sometimes it's less shooting. I think it's just continuing to give them confidence. That's been the thing that's worked for our teams in the past. We don't change personnel. It's something that I think that once they make one, they're liable to make 9 or 10. But we're going to have to shoot better than 3 for 23 to beat anybody remaining on our schedule. That's quite putting it as bluntly as I can. We can't win. I don't think we win another game if we go 3 for 23.
For you keeping, level-headed, I mean, how much did that carry over to your team, do you think, there in the second half to not press them that much?
I didn't lose my temper at all tonight. Like I said, I've been in those shoes long enough to know. I remember how bad I was the week after finals. And I've seen it with the best kids and the best students, and it is just a really, really hard week. So to go in with an expectation, I tried to make sure we were as level-headed. I think it was certainly the calmest our bench has been, and coached as hard tonight as we've coached all year for technique and to stick together, and not a much of X's and O's. I hope Nebraska gets this film and tears it apart tonight because they're going to waste 2 hours because we didn't run any offense hardly. I think we ran one set play, and that was in. I was trying to get Grace a bucket. I ran a set play. In fact, that's the only set play I remember calling. I may have called one coming out of a timeout, but tonight was about a lot of different things that didn't have anything to do with me calling a bunch of plays or stat lines, or it was survive against a quality opponent, and I'm tickled. I'm really, really happy with our effort overall, not the first 5 minutes.